I love Red Dead Online. In fact, I've played 130 days, 7 hours and 44 minutes on just my main account. That's not including the other accounts I've created for videos just so I can get some footage, and I've also bought this game on Xbox, PlayStation, Stadia and PC. And to be honest, if Rockstar was to release a next-gen version on PlayStation 5 and also Xbox Series X and S, I would probably also buy that as well. But for everything that I love, there's also many things that I absolutely hate. So let's go through the worst things within Red Dead Online. Before I do get into the video though, if you do want to see any more content from me, I have created a completely new channel. This channel is entirely dedicated to entertainment. We will be playing a variety of different games, but as of right now, we are sticking to GTA, as there's so many different things that we can do. So if you are interested in that, a link to that can be found in the description down below. Head over to there, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and you'll be notified when uploads get pushed to that channel. But getting back into the video, this is the list of some of the worst things about Red Dead Online, but I am curious if you agree or disagree with what is included. If there is something else that you would like to add to this list because you think it deserves to be here, or it's worse than some of the things that are already included in this video, then let me know in the comment section down below. So the first thing, it's a game based on Outlaws, but you're not doing any outlaw things. This has been a complaint for a very long time. At the beginning of the game, you are broken out of police custody. You do very shady things in main missions by robbing banks or even shoot up Blackwater. And then after all those missions are done, you are left in free roam, and surely this is when things get really good. But unfortunately, with the roles that have been added, you play a very passive and neutral character. You go through the collector role, bounty hunter, trader, moonshiner and naturalist, and the moonshiner is the only activity that somewhat leads you to being an outlaw. And even in this role, you don't have to do much. Players want to be able to rob stores, go through heists, train robberies, all of these different activities. And as Red Dead Online is set 1 year before the events of the Red Dead Redemption 2 story, players can still see this as being the end of the Wild West era. And players want to do all the cool things that you're able to do within story, but now put it towards their online character. Instead, you're collecting samples from animals to sell to the naturalist, or collecting flowers to sell them as part of collector sets. And Rockstar have said in many interviews before that we will be getting all these activities, such as heists and train robberies, but it has been 2 years and there's no sign that we'll be getting any update that includes this content anytime soon. So this complaint remains and it will still be part of this game for the foreseeable future. The next thing that players hate is the end game. There's not an ending as such with Red Dead Online, but there is a point where players just don't want to do anything anymore. You complete the main missions, you buy all weapons, you buy all pamphlets, you get to rank 100, you buy all roles, you buy all equipment within those roles, you max out those roles to the max rank, get all ability cards to tier 3, complete Outlaw Pass, get a couple hundred gold bars, and get a few $1,000s. After this, there's nothing else to do. And I know that seems like quite a lengthy list, but a lot of this is incredibly easy. Main missions take a couple hours. There is only 13. Buying all weapons and pamphlets, most of them are relatively cheap, and for the ones that are expensive, because how easy it is to make money within the game, you can buy these with just putting a couple days in for a grind. The complaint here is that there's no replayability. Once you complete those things, there's no real point to go back through them. In fact, you can't go back through them unless you create a completely new account. And because Rockstar doesn't allow you to have multiple characters on the same account, it does mean that you'll have to delete that character to start again. So this is the point where players start complaining about there's nothing to do within the game. Start asking Rockstar for the next major update. Now don't get me wrong, the content that is there is good and that list is growing, but it does take some time. And this is what links into the next point. The third thing that players hate the most with Red Dead Online, waiting for updates. The average time for an update is 1 every 3 months, and that doesn't sound that bad. But the reason that this is so low, or seems so much lower than what we're getting updates for right now, is because early on Rockstar were pushing many updates, but these updates weren't big. They didn't have loads of content. In fact, they didn't have any content. It was just gameplay changes for stuff that's already there. We're talking about them changing character movement, changing hit markers, changing player blips, adding parlay options, and changing defensive and offensive playstyles. The major updates that include content to play through take a lot longer, with there only being 3 in 2019 and only 2 in 2020. Now if we look at those updates, the updates that actually give us content, we get one every 146 days, which is one every 4 to 5 months. The events of 2020 with everything happening in the world obviously did cause some delays, but Rockstar is also going through a change where they're taking a much calmer approach for their employees. Both of these are valid reasons, but this doesn't stop players getting frustrated. In fact, it got really bad in 2020 when it took Rockstar 6 months to talk about any type of update. And even in this example, players forced Rockstar's hand by having in-game protests, where everyone dressed their characters up as clowns. Now you mix this update waiting time with the previous point of low replayability, this is not a good combination. This is what players complain about the most within the game. And we're still not done there, because this can also be linked to the next point. The fourth thing that players hate is the Rockstar communication. The communication from Rockstar is close to nothing. We get the promotional offers, weekly updates, tweets, and they occasionally retweet content from the community, but they do not talk about any problems, future updates, or even patches. There's been many problems within Red Dead with persistent bugs. And I get it, it's a game. There's always going to be these issues. And when you try to fix those issues, there's always going to be other issues that pop up. But most players understand that. The issue that players have is Rockstar don't talk about the issues that are in the game. With the lack of communication, no replayability, and knowing there's not going to be a major update for months, which is where most likely the bugs will get fixed or become 10 times worse, this is the feeling that players have. And no one likes this feeling within the community, which leads players to complain endlessly about the lack of content, lack of communication, bugs being within the game, or they go and completely ditch this game, find another game, enjoy that, and never come back, which in return also hurts the community. Going back through all of Rockstar's social media, there's only been 2 occasions when Rockstar have come out to talk about issues. The first one was the animal spawn problem. This was a problem that lasted months within the game. With the peer-to-peer servers, the more players that were in the session, the less animals that would spawn in. And this was a massive issue at this stage because the game revolved around animals. We had a trader role, for Christ's sake, which included you having to get animals to bring them back to your trader to go and make goods out of them. And you couldn't do that, making a good portion of the content being completely pointless. And players complained for months and months and months and months, and at no point Rockstar acknowledged this. They released a Moonshine update which made matters worse, and players complained even more. Yet again, we went months and months and months without anything, until Rockstar finally acknowledged the animal spawn problem, and it still took months and months and months for them to get it fixed. The only other issue was when things got really severe. After the Naturalist update, Rockstar pushed a patch. This completely broke the game. We're talking about not being able to connect to the game, and if you do connect, it would just crash within minutes. These are the only 2 occasions when Rockstar really talked about issues within the community. Now these events happened within 2020, but communication is still an issue. There are plenty of problems within the game that Rockstar should acknowledge. There's also a lot of players that are open to Rockstar talking about future updates, even if they're not coming anytime soon. That way players won't be getting hyped up every single Tuesday for Rockstar to reveal something when in actual fact they're nowhere near. Across the board, there just needs to be more communication. Keep the community within the loop, leads to less frustration, and things will just be a lot better. But now we move on to the final point. The last thing for this list that players just cannot stand is nerfs. We've had quite a few different nerfs over the years, but we've also had quite a few different buffs. Unfortunately, the nerfs that have happened have completely cancelled out the buffs. As already previously mentioned, in 2020 we only had 2 updates, and for both those updates there was huge amounts of complaints. For the Naturalist update, we did have the nerf of the collector sets. Collector sets were all guaranteed, and you used to be able to go for the coin set, ring set, and earring set, and you can make around $1,200 in 1 hour. At this type of price, you can do this a few days in a row, as you can only collect these sets once a day, and you're sorted for a very long time. But Rockstar changed this by making these sets random. So therefore it was so much harder to complete these sets and would take multiple days. This is greatly reducing how much money you can make out collecting. With the latest update that we had, the Bounty Hunter update, Rockstar made a change to daily challenges. Originally you were able to get 20 gold nuggets for every single daily challenge you did, but you can also build a streak which will increase it. You'll get a multiplier for every daily challenge, so you'll be earning more gold. And this will go from 20 gold nuggets to 30 gold nuggets to 40 gold nuggets, and then the max at 50 gold nuggets if you complete a 21-day streak. The good thing is that once you get to 21 days, you can go to the final streak, which was 28, and if you beat that, you carry on earning gold at the maximum streak. Meaning every single daily challenge that you do would give you 50 gold nuggets, even if you had a 50-day streak, a 100-day streak, or anything higher. This gave out very good gold, but in the previous Bounty Hunter update, Rockstar limited this. They reduced the gold payout by half. So now on a 21-day streak, you would only get 25 gold nuggets. But also once you hit 28-day streak, the following day it will reset back to 1, which is where you'll only be getting 10 gold nuggets. This greatly reduced how much gold you can make, and also led to players losing out on a 300+ day streaks and going all the way back down to 1. And months after this has happened, players still aren't over this. You still get players complain about how much gold they used to get to how much gold they're getting now. You can also find many different petitions on change.org which have thousands of signatures for Rockstar to revert back to the previous daily challenges. All of this is getting a lot of attention, but the chances of Rockstar doing this are incredibly slim. And not to mention that when going forward, there's always going to be something that is incredibly overpowered. There's always going to be something that pays out a lot more money, a lot more gold, a lot more XP. And when that is released, players will abuse it, and in the future, Rockstar will nerf it. So this won't be the last time that we hear or even talk about nerfs within the game. Anyway guys, that is a list of the top 5 things that players hate the most within this game. The funny thing about this is even if Rockstar did a madness and changed everything that we talked about in this video, the things that players hate the most, this time next year we'll still be talking about the things that players hate. It'll just be a completely different list. So it should be interesting to see this time next year if there's been any changes made to anything on this list, and if there is anything new that players just cannot stand with this game. As of right now, these are some of the biggest complaints. If you do think that there is something else that should be included, then let me know in the comment section down below. If you want to take a break from talking about Red Dead and want to see something a bit more entertaining, then I highly recommend that you go over to the second channel. A link to that can be found in the description down below. But anyway guys, I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did enjoy, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. But for now, I'm going. So see ya.